Hey, everybody. Welcome back to MSP Business School. And I think we're at episode 23 now.
Yeah.
Cruising along.
23.
As always, I've got my friend Rob Rogers and my other friend Tim McNeil from OSR joining us. And now we've got a third friend from across the pond joining us, Leigh Wood from Node IT in Biggleswade, UK. And we'd really like to thank Leigh for joining us because it's evening time out there now. So he's doing us a solid by jumping on board and being part of this afternoon for us.
Thank you,
anyway,
sir.
Leigh, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your organization?
Yeah, so we're out in Biggleswade, Bedfordshire, which is about 50, 60 miles north of London, to give you some geography about where we are. We're an MSP. We look after companies that are basically in central London and what are called the home counties, and Hertfordshire, which is in Bedfordshire itself, where we are. We've got a range of customers. We've been going 12 years. I still have customer number one, which is a care home in South London, and we've looked after them since day one of the business. So
that's awesome.
We're in it for the long term. We're in it for the long term, and I've got a fantastic team. There's 8 of us in the team at the moment, and we're looking at expanding as well because we're a bit busy, basically. So, yeah.
Which is great to hear during COVID times, right? You know, there's been a mix of busy, but then, I hear a lot of limited project work. How's that been for you?
Well, we had some project work that went through COVID, which was quite nice and took us up to about probably May, June time. Things that we could do. We couldn't get on site, but we were able to do all the work. We picked up on Teams rooms last year when I was at Microsoft Inspire, and we started on that, and quite fortunately, they're in demand now. So we rolled a few of them out while offices were empty as well, so that was quite useful. But then it kind of darkened off for about a couple of months in July and August, but I tell you, it's come back with a vengeance now.
Yeah.
As in the UK, we had this system called furlough, so you could basically put parts of your team, it wouldn't work, but the government would pay 80% of their wages. So a lot of companies had their staff on furlough. They've got through the summer, and now they bring them back, and everything's starting to get to a little bit more normal, but still a massive amount of hybrid. And the town I'm in is a commuter town for central London, and we used to have hundreds of people getting off the train every day, off the trains, and now you might see 10.
Yeah.
So it's just a huge difference in how people are working now. So, which is also part of the challenge we've got to meet as MSPs.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we have the same furloughed system over here, and it's depending on where you are in the country. I mean, people are opening up at different rates, so it's been interesting to say the least. Different clients we have in different areas. Just some are still working from home, some are fully in the office, and everything in between. So
yeah.
And some don't want to come off unemployment because they're more being unemployed than they were employed, and that's a problem we've got too.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
But we digress a little bit on that. So tell us a little bit more about how you guys got started. So, you've been Node IT has been in business how long now?
12 years now. So started in 2008. I had a business partner back then. We felt we could do IT consultancy back then. We thought, oh yeah, we'll be IT consultants. Loads of people will want to use our services. There's always these guys coming in getting paid more money than we have. So, and we may as well go do it. And yeah, that was wrong. So we ran this business for about 4 years, and then somebody started calling us an MSP, and we were like, oh, what's this about? And that was because they wanted to sell things to us. And it helped pigeonhole us into what an MSP is. But no, as I say, we started off with that very first customer, the British Home. And so the British Home has been a care home in South London since 1856. So they're my oldest customer in age of institution, as well as in age of how we've looked after them. And really, we started our support business supporting them. They wanted a regular contract. They wanted somebody to do that. And we learned the hard way that we were too cheap. We learned not necessarily with them, but with the customers. And we went through all the mistakes that we all make. And about 5 years in, my business partner left the business and I took it on, and it's been my kind of baby ever since. and we've built the team up. We've gone through ups and downs and trying to work out what being a business owner is like. I've transitioned from being the main tech to being running the business and doing the sales. And that's been a really interesting journey and quite a stressful journey. But I'm quite glad I've got some great techs now that work for me. So, you know, and that allows you to get on with doing the job. So, yeah.
How long have you been principal led?
Well, will I ever admit to being that yet?
Yeah.
How long have I been on the journey to that? Probably 7 years.
Yeah.
Am I any further down the line? Every time you think you are, something else appears, you know? So,
yeah, no.
You know, I would say we've made it that. I'm part of Evolve, which used to be called HTG. And so I joined Evolve last year. And actually, a lot of that is transitioning yourself really into that. And I'd say we're at about stage 2. We're just outside of muscle and feel, and we're into the getting the processes and the ideas and moving forward sort of thing. So, yeah, it's good.
Cool.
It's good.
Very cool.
Stuff. So, you know, Leigh, you've shared with me over our conversations a lot about the journey, but I recently learned a story that was pretty impressive to me. So you had mentioned that you had a bit of a challenge with a customer that beat you for a fair amount of cash. You want to tell us a little bit about that story, or is that hitting too close to home for you?
No, you can hit close to home. There's a particular firm that is, we don't talk about that firm. It's like Fight Club. You never talk about Fight Club. We, about 2017, we were kind of we were in a transition at that point, and we were just starting to get on top of things. But there was things that I struggled with. I was struggling with becoming a business owner. I was struggling to get out of my own way. I wasn't handling the finance side of it well, and just we were going through a real growing pain. Anyway, I got a great opportunity with a company, and they paid us a little bit of cash. And then there was this opportunity for about 50K, and we were like all in, and we started doing some of the work. We started getting down the line with them. We were doing all these things. And I spent about 3 months of my life doing that. And then I went on holiday, and they'd signed up to stuff. Then I came back thinking, great, I had a great holiday. And literally came off the plane. First text message said, "Sorry, Leigh, we've just gone under." And the rug was taken out from me. All of a sudden, that money, which I thought was going to be coming into the business over the next 2-3 months, was gone. I'd lost 3 months of active selling to other prospects and existing customers. And so not only was the 50K kind of never going to materialize, you've got overdrafts, you've got wages, you've got all these things there. And yeah, we were kind of in trouble. I was kind of like knocked sideways, and it was a really difficult moment. And over the following few weeks, we had to take some difficult decisions, you know, within the business, and around funding. We had to get some external funding in just to make sure we could get through. And but we didn't really recover back from that till really the end of 2018. It took us a full year before we actually started to get back on track. It really did, because what it actually did open up was it made us see the weaknesses in the business. It made us see the weaknesses in my own leadership, or my own, what I wasn't concentrating in, you know, not really watching the figures every week, every month, keeping a track on the P&L. And that was down to the fact I was scared of it. And I felt I didn't understand it. Right. Because nobody...
The denial factor, if you will. Yeah. We don't have a problem if I don't see the problem.
Yeah. It's not, how can it be there?
Yeah. And who teaches you business finance unless you go to business school? And right. Most IT techs, they basically start by going, "Oh, do you know what? I fancy a new graphics card. I'll charge $200, and I'll charge that a few times, and that's it. I've got a new graphics card." And they don't know about profit and loss and this, and you make it up as you go along, and you don't realise that what you've done all these years, you've been hustling, you've been muscling and feeling, and you've just been putting yourself under a lot more stress and strain down that line. So yeah, so it kind of opened that up. And then it opened up just various other elements about how we were running, but also we had to survive. And we spent a year treading water. And in July, it was May 2018, a friend of mine invited me. He's got an IT company and big in Microsoft, identity management company. He invited me down to an event that Microsoft were running in Reading, which is where the Microsoft main campus is in the UK. And I met some Microsoft guys there, and they gave me these real pearls of wisdom. They said, look, Lee, if it's under 100 million, that's what he said, we're not interested. Okay, you want us to be involved, we start at 100 million. That's where we go, right? Wow. And then he says, then there's a whole set of partners that start with companies of around, I don't know, 1,000 to 2,000 people, all the way up to £100 million dollar amount. There's a massive partner environment there that we engage and work with. Anything below 1,000 people, it's too small for that lot. They don't care. And he says, there are hundreds of thousands of companies in that area. And that is where the partner community needs to be in. That's where you go and fill the gap for us, because we're never going to be in there. And because they can't do it. And Office 365 proved that. They couldn't do the support when it first came out. It kind of, they had to come out to the partner community. Oh, yeah. And then he said, you should go to Inspire. And my friend said, you should go to Inspire. And I thought, I should go to Inspire, but financially I couldn't afford it. That was it. I couldn't afford it. And my dad, he was a businessman. He ran a garage. He never got what I did. You know, he does some with computers in London. That's what he'd say. And you know, he basically lent me some cash and said, like, if you think it's worth going, go out to America and do this. So I went. He paid me my airfare and gave me some cash. And my other friend, he gave me some work that would pay for the hotels and stuff like that. And I went to Microsoft Inspire in July 2018 and absolutely drank the Kool-Aid, as you would say. It was, oh my God, it was, I thought I understood Microsoft and I didn't. When you live within it for a week and you understand what the partner community and what the opportunity is and what you can do, I came out of it completely changed. And I thought, whilst I was out there, I also had time to reflect and think. And I thought, do you know what? I need to take this opportunity. I need to take this gift and I need to do something with it. And then go back to my team. And I'm going to tell them the things I've learned and we're going to work on these, on these things. Okay. And I flew back into the UK and I got on the train from Gatwick. And on the train back from Gatwick, I typed an email to 2 customers, to 2 people I knew, 2 leads. And I just said, this is what I learned in Inspire, and I think it'd be great for you. One didn't come back to me, the other did. And that one guy who came back to me said, Lee, I've got a company I think you should speak to. And he introduced me to them people. And 6 weeks later, they became my customer. And they became my first customer where we turned the corner. And we started a new way of thinking, a new way of billing, a new way of approaching the service. And it was from that one customer that I would say that our change in approach began, and it all came from what I learned out there.
So I got to ask a question about that. You know, that's interesting that it was really, truly a gift in many senses, you know, that you got to go out to Microsoft Inspire. Do you think because of the people that backed you, that was part of the drive to make that succeed when you came back and really helped push you along too? Knowing that your dad gave you a few bucks, knowing that somebody else gave you a little bit of work to get there, did you almost feel obligated to make this work when you came back? And did that light the fire for you?
You do, yeah. And also I've got a team who believed in everything. And what I didn't do, well, what I started doing, I started internalizing it. And I didn't deal with it. And I remember it was after I came back. And behind all this, we were still having financial issues. And I remember speaking to my wife, and this was just before we signed up this customer. And I was honestly, I'd got to rock bottom myself. I was stood in the kitchen, and I'm going, and I started crying. And I'm like, and there's my wife, I'm crying. And I said to these, I'm crying, I'm saying, I think I'm a bit stressed. And she went, really?
You
Really?
don't say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Let's reevaluate this.
I hadn't noticed. Yeah. So, and then what happened is I said, well, do you know what? I think I need to speak to somebody. And she said, yeah, here's a website where you can find people. I went through his website, and there was one guy came. Everything was all these ladies, and it was all about lots of different things which didn't resonate with me. This guy said, he literally said, men that are middle-aged that are running not an IT company, but running a company, you need help, give me a call. And I met Keith. And Keith, what you said there, Brian, to bring it back, Keith was about that. He said, do you feel you need to, repay that? And I said, well, yeah, I need to repay the faith. I really need to do that. But what Keith then did was he just gave me a couple of hours of listening to me. And he said, well, what are you scared of? I said, well, someone's going to take it away from me. Someone's going to take the company away from me. He said, who? Well, they will. Who's they? I don't know. Someone's going to say, you're not allowed to work anymore. You're not allowed to have your company anymore. And he said, who? There's nobody going to do that. All you need to do is go and sell. And he gave me the techniques. And it was just, what he did. So several things came together. Got the support from family and friends and my team and my wife. And then I had somebody who unlocked me to get myself out of my own way. Mm-hmm. And we started to land the customers. And in fact, the customers just followed on from all that other stuff. It just became the natural thing to do to flow through.
And I got to commend you too. Realistically, getting it back on track in a year is impressive, because when you think about $50,000, that's coming straight from net profit, right? That means you were able to generate enough new profit each month.
Well, no, Brian. No. 2018 was a loss. 2018 we made a loss. So, and believe you me, the government like to tax you more when you make a loss in the UK. It's quite bizarre.
That's not true.
Seriously? Come on.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go into that one. But anyway.
Leave that alone.
So
Next time.
We made a loss. To 2019, the beginning of 2019, at the same time, in 2018, I got introduced to a customer, an opportunity.
Okay.
And they went quiet for a month. And I thought, they're not coming back to me. And I emailed, they're not coming back to me. And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to ring up again. And it was literally just, if you don't give it a go, you don't get it. And I rang up and I spoke to the boss of the company, and he said, yeah, tell you what, come in, please. I need to sort it out now. I've been putting it on the back burner. Come in. And I met him and the lady who looks after the operations of the organization. And we just had a fantastic chat, because that's how I like. That's how I do it. I'm speaking to you guys. That's what you have to put up with when I come to see you.
Yep.
So and we had a wonderful conversation, and they basically believed in what I was saying. They've got sites around the UK, so I travelled around the UK to see their sites and to give them a solution. And they went, look, you guys are the ones for us. And they signed up in January 2019. 2019, because our financial year is January to December. So we started January 2019 as a brand new year, and we started straight away making profit. And we made profit throughout 2019. But when you've got a loss behind you, you're constantly in catch-up. You might be making the money every month, but you still go back into the red a bit, or you never get that kind of thing. So you've got to be prepared that if you're going to go for it. Now, I didn't realize this in 2017. If I had, maybe I wouldn't have done it. But it kind of like, you've got to be prepared that, the next 2 years or 3 years is really about getting the ship back right again. And I would actually say, even with COVID, we are now ahead of where we were this time last year. So because we've built up the recurring revenues from last year, and then have followed through into this year, and we've been doing the professional services. So it's been quite interesting to see, if we hadn't have had COVID, just how far ahead we would have been. Yeah. But now we're finding we're getting more traction again now for this last quarter. So I'm pretty confident we're going to beat last year's profit and revenue figures. So because of Well, I already know I'm beating the profits. There you go.
But you've certainly laid out a story here where you take adversity, turn it around, and then make sure you put in the controls so you never have it happen to you, at least in the same way again, right? There's always going to be ups and downs. But I'm sure you're, as you said, your financial acumen has probably changed immensely since that time in how you look at things.
It took Keith, that guy. He said to me, "You don't know, I kept saying, I don't understand business finance. I don't." And he says, "You do." I said, "No, I don't." And I surround myself with other people that do. So he came down one Friday evening, sat me in front of a whiteboard, and got me to explain business finance without realizing I was explaining business finance. And suddenly I realized, oh, I do get it. And it's not that complicated. That figure's always got to be more than that figure. It's very simple.
It is.
What more than what you press.
What comprises those two figures doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, and then it works.
Here's what we took in. Here's what went out. Better be black.
Yeah. So it's been a journey, but it's good, and you can do it.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Leigh. That's a great story. So we're coming near the end of our time here, so we'll transition a little bit and we'll talk about some things that you do to keep a balance in work life, and try to do that. And I think we might see a few of those things over your shoulder right there.
Yeah, there's the Star Wars Lego, which is fantastic because it's basically, I'm a big kid and I've got a plan to have all the Star Wars toys that I had as a kid in Lego form. And I've still got all the Star Wars toys as well. I didn't sell them in a yard sale.
Yeah, I was going to say, you didn't have to play. The big moral of the story here is you figured out how to get out of the hole without having to pawn the Star stuff.
This is it. I've got somewhere to put it all. So, yeah. I tell you what I've recently discovered is woodworking. And actually, I would say my life balance hasn't been great to a certain degree, but because my business is in the same town where my home is, that even in the most stressful, busiest times and stuff, I can come home, I can see the kids, I can be with my wife, I can read when they were much younger, they can read to me now, and all these sort of stuff, and we can share family life, and that's really important.
That's awesome.
But recently the woodworking, my dad who passed away earlier this year, he was an amazing guy at woodworking, and it took me till he was practically not with us anymore to find out for myself I could do it. And as it is, and he was encouraging then, even right up to the last, he was sending me messages. Yeah, it's really good, lad. You're doing a good job there. And, we've put the tools in place, and I love doing that. I love just kind of building things, and that's really nice. And
so what's the current project?
That's cool.
I'm currently making a workbench which incorporates my table saw. There you go. So it's that's the current project. And after that, I'll be making a nice table. There you go.
Awesome.
So, it's good fun.
All right. So I think, Timmy, you're going to cue us up for the speed round this week, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we finish every episode. We've got 5 questions we ask. Just first thing that comes to your mind, right? It's they're very straightforward. Kind of just pick one of them, and we just go on to the next. So first one is text, talk, or Teams.
Teams.
Teams question mark?
Was it right?
There's no wrong answer.
Yeah. Music, movies, or TV?
Oh, music.
Yeah. Okay. What age do you want to retire?
27. Unfortunately.
Got some bad news for you.
Yeah. 56. There you go.
Okay. Mac or Windows?
Windows. Not that rubbish.
If you could do anything besides tech, what would it be?
Oh, I would probably work in one of the national parks in the UK.
Really?
That's probably what I'd do. Yeah.
Doing what?
That's a really interesting point. Because I remember they've got wardens and they can go that basically maintain the national parks and just enjoy the countryside. I'd probably do something definitely outside that involved walking around a lot and not being in front of one of these screens, because I've now I've just been given reading glasses and it's you know, it's happening. I'm old, I'm getting old, and these streams, so it'd have to be outside walking. I'd have a camera in my hand as well. Yeah, definitely.
It's beautiful.
Very nice.
Very
I think
cool.
that wraps us up on the speed round, right, Tim?
Yeah, it does.
All
It
right.
does.
So Leigh, we want to thank you definitely for joining us today. You know, really appreciate that. If you want to check out Leigh and his company, we'll have a link to his website in our show notes. To get this podcast, as you know, you can go over to mspbusinessschool.com and check out what we've got going on every week. And of course, you can get it anywhere you get your podcasts. Leigh, thanks again for joining us. And we look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Cheers.
All right. Take care.
Thanks for coming on.